At the heart of Hellblade is our ambition to sink you into Senua's world and story. To do this, it's critical that we make it as easy as possible for you to suspend your disbelief. One key method of achieving this is our use of performance capture.
What I want to achieve on stage is to get the best performance and best storytelling from the actors, and then to get that into the game as faithfully as possible. I want to see what I saw on stage in the game.
It's going to happen. It's time to find out. How can we make it happen?
When we were shooting the scene from the Xbox showcase, it was quite a somber mood on set, because that was one of our moments in the game where it's just Senua and the Furies. We have an opportunity to connect with the player one-on-one.
Where are they? Where are you? What do they want?
At this point in Senua's journey, she's had her confidence eroded. There's a lot of doubt, and she needs to find within herself a spark of hope, that strength that she has in order to continue on.
All the grief, all the rage, all the fear, everything I've seen, everything I've done.
While this scene is relatively simple, the scale and complexity of our performance capture has multiplied to meet our creative ambitions on Hellblade 2.
We shot the first Hellblade in the boardroom of our old studio. It was very MacGyvered together. In the new studio, we have a custom-built mocap space, which has pretty much everything we could have dreamed of. We've got projectors, so we can recreate sets on the ground if we need to. We've got loads of props that we have available to us at any time, so we can build sets.
I remember coming into interview and seeing the setup down there and immediately being impressed by the clear commitment that had been made to underpinning great true-to-life performance with great quality data. So we've got a lot more cameras this time around. They're kind of top of the line at the moment. And in the kind of space that we have downstairs, we have nearly wall-to-wall coverage, which is really impressive. And it's not something that is common. It's certainly a step up from a few cameras set up in a boardroom.
All 42 of our Vicon cameras emit infrared light, and when they hit the markers on the performers, that's projected straight back at the camera. The tape is retro-reflective, and basically as long as 3 or more cameras can see that marker, they can triangulate its position within the volume. So when we calibrate, we run around and define the space in which the performers can act for the day, and as long as they're within that space, the cameras will pick them up and track them through the volume. The projectors are really great because they cover almost the entire floor within this green boundary, which is our general safe volume. And what we can do is project either Unreal or Motion Builder down onto the floor to scale, which is really useful for things like scenes with the giants, where you need something bigger than the performers as a reference. They can see it move along the floor, or we can set the distance between our props and pieces of environment to make sure that that's accurate to the game world as well. The thing that's really cool about this room in particular is that it's really purpose-built for freedom. So it's very soundproofed. It's nearly a full soundstage. But these points here allow us to mount a piece of truss to the floor, and then we can get onto the truss on the ceiling, which can carry an insane amount of weight. So if we've got a point here and a point up on the ceiling, we can do almost any kind of rigging build. We can hang things from the ceiling. We can rig up wire poles, any kind of rope work that we might need. This is really useful if you've got big jumps or swimming, that kind of thing. You can get performers up off the floor and give them the freedom to move around the space unencumbered by the floor.
With our setup, we can push even further on our ambition of bringing through as much of our actors' performances as possible into the game, even down to the most nuanced of movements.
When you've got an optical system like ours set up and calibrated well, you can track performers' movements down to the millimeter. So we can see somebody shuffling their finger along the table or just wiggling them very gently. You can see hesitation and breath. You know, there's no need to push the action and overact. You can just be your character.
I'm here now.
What we want is the best performance possible, the best immersion possible for the player, and that's why we go to these lengths, just to try and get that extra fidelity of performance into the game.
What do you want me to do?
As soon as we start getting the visual performance of our actors as well as their body data, that's when it becomes performance capture and not just motion. It really just gives a more cohesive and true-to-life performance, being able to have the body data that matches the visual performance. It's really all very in the moment and helps everything feel much more realistic and just a part of the whole production.
Alongside head-mounted and motion capture cameras, we're taking a filmic approach to our cinematics with a bespoke virtual camera setup.
We've got Bosch's camera in here. It gets timecode jam here, and we track this crown in relation to this offset marker here so that we can track the point of the lens, and that allows us to faithfully track the camera's lens and look throughout the scene.
With performance capture being at the heart of our character movement, our props and staging had to facilitate our vision.
I don't want to give any spoilers away, but there is going to be a boat in the game. That boat will have several characters on board. We wanted to be able to capture the motion of a boat across multiple characters simultaneously, and we, for the first time, had the space to be able to construct a proper rig for this. So we had a platform which could be moved in any number of ways to create that kind of pitch and yaw and roll that you would get on the ocean, and we got our actors up onto this boat and captured scene with high waves and a storm, and we got incredible data from it. Really amazing.
Being able to do that in our own basement is really important for how quickly we want to iterate on that data and get it into engine and see what it looks like. You know, we can always come back and do things again, and we don't have to worry about scheduling or finding performers or anything like that you might need to worry about in a normal kind of third-party shoot.
The most important part of my role is to make sure that story gets told, and having these wonderful actors we're working with bring their talents to bear on these characters has been such an amazing experience.